For decades, getting off this planet required absolute perfection. The people we strapped to experimental explosives were military test pilots with ice in their veins, operating in a world of rigorous science, quiet dignity, and unimaginable stakes. The cosmos itself demanded that respect. The vacuum of space is a pristine, silent environment that will instantly kill you the second you stop taking it seriously. It was the ultimate frontier, and we treated it like a cathedral. And then we launched a sports car into it. That pristine frontier has rapidly mutated. Today, you don't find silent majesty. You find catastrophic prototype explosions in Texas swamps, politicians fiercely debating who owns the lunar South Pole, and billionaires realizing that low Earth orbit is just a very high-altitude billboard. The singular focus on scientific discovery now competes with a flood of private stunts and national PR campaigns. Space is no longer a quiet laboratory. It's a crowded theater of human ego. To understand how weird things have gotten, look at the United States. America's current strategy for maintaining cosmic dominance is this: the Space Launch System, a monolithic, staggeringly massive piece of legacy hardware. It's basically a skyscraper powered by retrofitted engines designed in the 1970s. It's also billions of dollars over budget and years behind schedule, costing taxpayers over $2 billion every single time it leaves the launch pad. This is a geopolitical trap called sunk cost orbit. When a superpower spends over $20 billion developing a megaproject, canceling it means admitting defeat on the world stage. So they just have to keep launching it, smiling through the financial bleeding. Meanwhile, China is operating in total secrecy with an aggressively different playbook. They aren't holding public congressional hearings about budget overruns. They are aggressively churning out hardware and launching rockets at a breakneck cadence, turning orbital mechanics into a relentless factory of national pride. Between these two heavily armed titans, the romance of space exploration is dead. It's been replaced by a multi-billion-dollar passive-aggressive staring contest. But while the superpowers are throwing mountains of cash at each other, the real humiliation is coming from the underdogs. Take India's space agency, ISRO. They build rockets that prioritize aggressive, scrappy utilitarianism over looking cool. This chart directly compares the cost of a single NASA SLS launch against India's Chandrayaan-3 mission. ISRO literally landed a functioning rover on the south pole of the moon for about $75 million. That is significantly cheaper than the budget for the movie Interstellar. They pull this off through a cultural engineering philosophy known as jugaad, essentially the art of the highly innovative, low-cost workaround. Because they aren't trapped by decades of legacy infrastructure, they can completely bypass the sunk cost orbit trap and just invent cheaper solutions. Then you have the UAE dropping in as the ultimate wildcard. With almost no historical aerospace background, they decided to go to Mars, outsource the manufacturing, and successfully entered Martian orbit on their very first attempt. Deep pockets and a 50-year resume don't buy you dominance anymore. Right now, extreme financial efficiency and absolute audacity are running circles around brute economic force. Which brings us to the fading titans. Russia's space program, once the terrifying pioneer of the cosmos, has largely devolved into operating as an orbital taxi service, relying entirely on the engineering glory of its past. And nature abhors a vacuum. Into this void stepped the billionaires, who looked at low Earth orbit and saw an entirely unregulated playground. SpaceX bypassed decades of government red tape, replacing slow-moving bureaucracy with a rapid, industrialized launch schedule that treats orbit like a standard shipping lane. But the endgame of this privatization is uniquely absurd. We are now building state-of-the-art suborbital rockets for the explicit purpose of sending the ultra-rich on 5-minute matching jumpsuit joyrides. The final frontier has been successfully hijacked by corporate interests. We took the grand theater of human discovery and transformed it into an interstellar logistics hub with an attached amusement park. When you pull back from the individual egos and look at the physical reality, this is what the space around our planet actually looks like right now. It is utterly choked with hardware. The visual evidence confirms that the vacuum is no longer a void. Our orbital space is now a cluttered industrial zone, mapped by commercial interests rather than purely academic ones. But here is the ultimate irony. This exact mess, This chaotic web of commercial satellites, extreme national flexing, and billionaire vanity projects is actually the physical foundation required for a permanent human presence in space. We are establishing the most dense concentration of orbital infrastructure in history. Yet this expansion lacks the unified, utopian coordination once envisioned by early space theorists. While scientific cooperation continues, the massive surge in orbital activity is largely powered by national friction and corporate ambition. We are scaling the gravity well through a messy combination of stubbornness, financial greed, and competitive ego. And despite the chaos, the hardware is staying up.